You have to have a garage, a big area, all the tools, everything to build out a van.
But this is our second van build, and we've had none of that stuff for either of them. So we're going to tell you today how you don't need any of that stuff to build a beautiful tiny home on wheels.
You could do it just like us.
We built our first van Lolo in the streets of New York City, so we're no stranger to building in unique places. One thing that you just have to remember is that you need to put all your tools and everything away every single night.
Yeah, and even when you're not working out in that area, make sure you put the ladder away like we just did, so that way if somebody really wants to use this parking spot, they can.
And you have to be aware of break-ins, because things like that could happen. You might have all of your materials in your van, and then somebody breaks in and steals them all.
So make sure you lock your rig at the end of the night.
Because just the other day, somebody went around here checking for unlocked doors. This is what happened. Because if they weren't locked, they would have got all of this. One drill, 2 drills, a ladder. That's like a $200 ladder, a max oak.
Imagine running down the block with like drills in their hands and a shop vac and.
They probably brought some kind of bag.
Yeah, it's probably like a car.
This is one of the things that you have to think about when you're not building in a garage or an enclosed space, is that theft could happen.
Also, just lock your doors.
Too many days in the darkness without a glimpse of the light. Running tired and broken and scared, but I swear I'll never give up.
Not having the right tools is a killer. Use what you got though, and make it happen. Might take a little bit longer, but there's always a way. There's always a way.
Your van is going to be constantly exposed to the elements, so you kind of have to plan things like cutting holes and caulking things, and even thinking about what the humidity is around here, because things are just going to take so much longer to dry and cure because you don't have a temperature controlled space.
Today, the humidity is 70%.
So unfortunately, these brand new, very expensive cedar planks got kind of gross because it's so wet here all the time, and maybe the sealant that we used just wasn't good enough for that. We do not have nearly all the tools that we need in order to build a van. We literally only have tools that fit in our other van build. So, very small things.
I see you broken and beat, head pulled down over your eyes. Every part of you wants to surrender, darling.
One of the hardest things is that we have Paco with us, and he's not allowed to be off his leash. But he's such a good boy.
Technically, he was able to be off his leash for a good while until somebody complained about it.
You gotta take it and, you know, just throw a leash on him for now, and hopefully things will work themselves out.
Because they threatened us with a $250 fine.
Every start, we are born again.
Let's go, buddy.
Open your heart, spend less time in your head. With every start, we are born again.
Unlike some of our fellow van life builders like Max, Lee, Van Life Sagas, our literal only indoor space is this lanai.
It's tiny
That's
little
not
lanai.
even an indoor space because it's walls or a screen.
Yeah, it's not easy, but we make it work.
This is the entire indoor space that we have to work with. Frankie's mom literally just finished this lanai like the day before we got here, and has generously let us use it for all of our tools and stuff from inside of our van. But it's a very small space and it's very full.
We are grateful for even having a space to be able to work at.
Frank's mom is actually the sweetest. I said to her the other day, I apologized for our stuff being everywhere, And she said, don't worry, someday you'll be gone and I'll miss you. And it was the sweetest thing ever.
I will. I'm so glad you're here. Whether you take enough space, that's fine. Like I said, I'll miss you when you're gone.
Yeah, we'll miss you too.
Having such a tiny space, every single morning, we have to change it up. So we have to take all these boards out of whatever project it is and bring it outside.
Hopefully it's a good weather day. Certainly not a good weather hair day. That's for sure.
It's definitely humid and hot out here right now, and I'm not complaining because we could be in like 30-degree weather up north.
Our last build we started in July in New York City, which is hot AF, sticky, gross. We felt like we were gonna pass out by like 2 o'clock every afternoon. And then we finished our van build in New York at the end of December, which was freezing cold, and we thought we were gonna freeze our butts off by the end of every day working. But you know, we got it done. We survived. Once we installed the heater, it was so much better. But this time, we really need an AC. Whew.
Here's a quick thing that you could buy. It's only like $20. We got it at Home Depot, and they're these horse legs. I'm gonna pull them out.
Sure.
Throw them out there, and then we'll take this board out. So these two little guys right here have been so helpful to us. They're only $20 at Home Depot, and legit, we make a whole entire table outside with it. And just like that, you have a table.
Just like a seed in a garden.
We're gonna get to treating this wood for the 100th time to see if this time we can seal it properly.
So if we were to even have our own driveway, we would be able to like tarp off an area and utilize that area. But since we're in a community that has a lot of restrictions, we unfortunately cannot do anything like that. So everything is going to be out here in the open, and that's the reason why all that transferring has to happen.
Yeah, we're not allowed to leave anything out here overnight because the homeowners association would not be very happy about it. And so the tricky thing about it is that we want to keep them happy because they could literally slap us with a big fine or tell us that we can't work here at any time. So we got to keep them happy.
Luckily though, we have a bunch of friends in the area, like the Nautical Nomads. We also have family members as well as people next door that are literally willing to let us borrow their tools. Thanks, Steve, for the bag of tools. We appreciate it.
Not only their tools, their driveways and spaces. We've had some of our followers reach out and say they have a house nearby that we could just go and stay there. So we might be taking you guys up on your offer. We're gonna have to see what works out, but it's nice to have options. It's Adaptive Humanity, and they're awesome. We have to give a huge shout out to our friends Nautical Nomads for letting us build in their driveway and loaning us some tools. I'm sure that we'll be back over there before the end of this build because they have a super sweet setup to build their beautiful bus and are super generous in allowing us to crash.
You will grow to be tall, staring out over miles of land.
Another pro tip is that hardware stores like big box ones, like big box hardware stores will often accept returns. Home Depot specifically, if you use their Home Depot credit card, accepts returns up to a year. And we have an insider tip that they are very lackadaisical with their return policy. So we are going to go return this piece of junk garbage that made all of our boards moldy and didn't work at all because A, I don't have anywhere to store it, B, it's crap and didn't work, and C, why the heck not?
What we're doing is returning things that somebody else could use and we don't have to just throw out. So like things like those cinder boxes that we used the other week to keep that weight down on the floor, those were a perfect thing to return back to them because somebody else will buy them and use them.
The other great thing about these big box stores is that you can use their parking lots. We've actually done a lot of building in the parking lots of Lowe's and Home Depot. Because we're gonna tarp the whole front area too. So he kind of just needs to be outside.
Up here, yeah. He'll stay outside.
Too bad we're still in the Lowe's parking lot.
Essentially what we're trying to do, guys, is we're trying to cut this whole section out right here. That way we can have a bench seat area. Looks like I'm gonna have to do a little work overhanging over here and making everything fit.
And nobody really minds, so as long as you can power your tools, you're good to go.
Over miles of land without it, but wanting to build up walls. Lift me up in your branches. We can watch the sunrise. Just a couple of bruised up souls that believe that it was worth one more drive. With every star,
If after all this you still think that you cannot build a tiny home on wheels anywhere, you better keep watching.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel and watch our build series because we are going to prove to you that you can build a beautiful tiny home on wheels anywhere. Because if they weren't locked, they would have got this.
You gotta unlock
Oh,
them.
I did it.
Did you do it? Say it again.